Homelander attacks him and puts him back on ice.
Dumbest
As a
shit
result,
ever.
Soldier Boy doesn't get to be part of the big finale. He's presumably
So I get why people are angry at this. What's the fucking point of this nigga being part of the plot besides trying to like promote the next prequel, a whole nother show?
Oh, what's up? Oh, what's up?
Yo, what up? It's Majay back at another video. Today we're about to be reacting to a video by Looper. The video is going to be on The Boys Season 5 biggest unanswered questions. The biggest unanswered questions, man. Yeah, I like how The Boys ended, bro. I know a lot of people are trying to give it flack right now, but like what other TV show doesn't have like flack right now, bro? At least The Boys ended like on a good note, because a lot of shows do not end on a good note or even get to end. They get canceled before the ending even really gets to like really fully develop. But a lot of people are just going to be complaining online because like some are unhappy that it, you know, didn't end like the comics or whatever. I think the comics are like kind of shit. I didn't like the ending in the comics of you know, like how they just like fucking Butcher just killed everybody. I just didn't like that. I mean, that's my opinion. You ain't gotta like it, but I just did not like that ending, bro. But I love like how in a show he gave like people really good endings. I know people really said like, what was the point of Homelander getting V1 or whatever. I kind of think that was stupid too. You could have like let him fail to get V1, because like what was the whole purpose? Yeah, like kind of tread through everything and let this nigga get V1 just to get like fucking depowered like the next episode, bruh. So I kind of get that. But like it's just been like it's a huge payoff that like Butcher got to get his revenge, and then like, you know, he had to get put down. But like, let's get into it and let's discuss the unanswered questions with Looper. And don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy my reactions.
After 5 seasons soaked in blood and other bodily fluids, The Boys has come to an end, and it left fans with some lingering questions that may never be answered. Spoilers for Season 5 ahead. The final season of The Boys wrapped up a Butcher plotline that's been running for years, but the show did it entirely off-screen. The ending of Season 3 revealed that Butcher's use of Compound V had given him cancer. Throughout Season 4, Butcher's clock was ticking, and his methods got more extreme than ever because of it. By the end of Season 4, Butcher's sentient cancer had driven him to kill Victoria Newman, abandon his friends, and head down the path to full-blown insanity.
Oh, by the way, you're all welcome.
When Butcher first walks on screen in Season 5, his internal struggle with the cancer has been completely resolved. Sure, he's still violent and angry, but that's just Butcher. Sometime between seasons, he fully regains control of his mind and body. He's not hallucinating any old war buddies, and he doesn't seem concerned about the cancer killing him before he gets to Homelander.
Are you still dying, hopefully?
No, hearty inhale. See, that's a mistake most people make. They try to fight the cancer.
And that's about the only explanation we get for why that whole subplot sort of disappeared. Maybe it's a testament to willpower, or maybe it's a way to sidestep writing more hospital scenes. Either way,
I don't know. That whole thing was just kind of weird and annoying. If like it kind of like ruins like the whole setup from like I think Season 3 of this nigga like taking the whole Temp V and, you know, kind of the side plot of him quote unquote saving Hughie from that, and like it ruins the whole plot of him dying. I just do not fucking get that whole thing. But you know, I guess they probably wrote themselves into like a fucking corner, so they kind of just tried to write it out. So it's kind of no use to just like talking about it.
his story is over, so we'll likely never know any more about it. After being freed from a Russian science facility only to get shoved into a cryopod in Season 3, Soldier Boy finally gets to stretch his legs again when Homelander thaws him out in Season 5. Soldier Boy spends most of the season trying to escape, then reluctantly helps his son find V1 so that he can become immortal. Afterwards, Soldier Boy wants to go live his own life, but Homelander attacks him and puts him back on ice. As a result, Soldier Boy doesn't get to be part of the big finale. He's presumably still locked up inside.
Okay. So I get why people are angry at this one. I get why people are angry at this one, and I totally fucking agree. What's the fucking point of this nigga being part of the plot besides trying to like promote the next prequel of a whole nother show? They just let this nigga out, and they just let this nigga fucking back into the tube. What type of fucking writing is that? They could have like, you know, did a sequence when they let him back out at the end. And the one kind of other thing that kind of pisses me off is the Gen V characters, bro. They were literally just brought here for nothing. They just literally were brought to just take a few people back to the fucking border of like Canada or something. And they were, I wonder what happened to them, bro, because they didn't show them like toward the end anyway. Like they only show like the main characters getting resolved out of everything. They could have just like, I mean, maybe it was just due to runtime, but like, I'm just trying to give them more fucking flack, and you know, I'm just trying to give them like, I'm not trying to give them a more of an like excuses, bro, because the plots were just kind of so stupid at times. But hey, man.
Vought Tower when the show ends. It's hard to say what's next for him in the current world of the boys, but we do know that he'll have a big role to play in the prequel series Vought Rising. It might seem like a prequel series can't answer any lingering questions about Soldier Boy at the end of The Boys, but this is one question we will eventually get an answer for. Speaking with Screen Rant, showrunner Eric Kripke talked about Soldier Boy's unceremonious icing in Season 5, saying, "We're deep into Vought Rising, and we know what that story is. A lot will make sense that might not make sense to the viewers at this exact moment, but hang in there, it all will. One way or another, Soldier Boy's story isn't over yet." Every season of The Boys needs some kind of MacGuffin, and in Season 5, it's V1. This was the first and strongest version of Vought's super creation serum, Compound V. It kills most recipients, but those who live don't just get superpowers, they become immortal.
Only worked on a handful of early soups. You, Bombsight, Torpedo, Private Angel, Stormfront.
Tracking down V1 becomes everyone's main focus in Season 5. Vought supposedly destroyed all of the doses back in Soldier Boy's time, but we learned that at least one vial of the serum managed to escape the company's grasp. After plenty of searching and some back and forth, Homelander gets a shot of it. In the end, the immortality serum doesn't stop the boys from finishing Homelander off, but it's easy to imagine how dangerous V1 would be in the hands of any other ill-tempered soup. The Boys never really makes it clear if any other doses of V1 still exist. Homelander only needed a single vial to become immortal, and after he was injected, everyone else stopped searching for it. There could absolutely be more V1 out there, and Vought itself might still have the formula locked away. We'll never know.
Like, there was just no point of giving Homelander V1, bro. Like, it was just nothing. It was just nothing to even just like kind of fucking do, bro. I mean, virtually kind of Frenchie just still died for nothing, bro. I just wanted to kill a character off and, you know, just like create some type of sympathy. That's what I just feel like it is. It really kind of didn't make no sense to just kill off Frenchie and then this nigga getting V1 and oh my god, bro. I don't know, a lot of plot holes. Yeah, they hype V1 up so much just for it to be useless in the ending.
Stan Edgar is the CEO of Vought before Homelander wrests control of the company away from him. During the events of Season 5, Stan becomes Homelander's prisoner at Vought Tower. Homelander uses Stan to help find V1, but the entire time, Stan is secretly looking for an opportunity to pull himself back to the top of Vought. Near the end of the season finale, a news clip reveals that Stan has retaken control of Vought in the wake of Homelander's death. It explains that superheroes the world over have gotten out of control and need oversight, his oversight, of course. Stan is supposedly acting as Vought's interim CEO, but it's clear from his comments that Stan is planning on making big changes at the company. We don't know what his plan for Vought is, but after waiting so long to regain power, we know Stan won't give it up easily. Killing Homelander isn't the end of the road for Butcher. As the boys are celebrating their victory, Butcher takes a soup-killing virus that Frenchie made and loads it into the sprinkler system at Vought Tower.
All I gotta do is pull this trigger, and it rains killjuice on all 99 floors.
Butcher plans to set off the sprinklers as soon as soups arrive at the tower for work, but Hughie follows him.
I feel like essentially this was, you know, a good calling that Butcher just literally have nothing else in the tank anymore, bro. He literally his whole thing was just to kill Homelander and like get his revenge for him basically like R-wording his wife and almost being kind of basically being the fault of like bro dying. No, I know Ryan like blasted her and everything, and it kind of like got her, but like it wouldn't have been in that whole predicament if his life was just like normal again. But I feel like people were just like kind of going overboard saying that like, bro, there's no one point of killing Butcher. Like virtually he literally just admitted like himself, like if Hughie didn't stop him or shoot him, he never would have stopped. Even if like Hughie like stopped and like got the threw the virus somewhere else, or basically did something about the virus. And I feel like Butcher wouldn't have stopped, and he has basically no purpose or whatever to do anymore after his dog died. So them wrapping his story up right there, I think it was just beautiful right there, at least.
And tries to put a stop to the plan. Butcher ultimately has second thoughts, but too late. Hughie shoots him. It's a heartbreaking ending to Butcher's story, but what happens after that? Does Hughie go search for the sprinkler reservoir to drain it or something? Even if he found a way to do that, what would he do with all the water? A building the size of Vought Tower, that's gotta be tens of thousands of gallons. You can't just flush a soup-killing virus into the sewers. Reasonably enough, the show glosses over the details. It's a sad moment after all, but there's no getting around the fact that a virus engineered to kill the world's superheroes just goes completely unaccounted for. In the very last scene of The Boys, Hughie gets a surprising phone call from the new president of the United States. Former Defense Secretary Robert Singer is back and in the Oval Office, and he's got a job offer for Hughie. After everything that happened with Homelander, the government has decided to relaunch the Bureau of Super Affairs, and Singer wants Hughie as the new bureau chief. Hughie turns down the job in favor of continuing to enjoy a relatively quiet life with Starlight.
That whole thing is stupid of just them trying to offer Hughie the chief position, bro. I wouldn't want to do that either. After all the shit that I've been through, after all they put me through, one of the suits literally killed his girlfriend, which he forgave, but like they basically ruined his life. They literally basically ruined his life.
Starlight. But combined with Stan Edgar's statements about soups needing more oversight, President Singer's call implies that the government is going to have a more adversarial relationship with soups in the future. The Boys may be disbanded, but the government's soup fighting team could have a show's worth of its own stories to tell. It's hard not to wonder if Hughie or any other of our heroes will find themselves working with the Bureau at some point or another. Ryan arguably has the most heartbreaking story of any character on The Boys. He grew up in an isolated world with his mom, learned that Homelander was his dad, became a different actor, accidentally killed his mom.
Became a different... I never fucking knew why they fucking had the one actor, like Ryan's actor in there, and then they changed him right at the beginning of season 2. Like, it was just so fucking weird. But also like they really didn't even like show Ryan in the season 5. Like the memes were on TikTok and the fucking Instagram were fucking correct. They kept like letting this nigga disappear. They kept letting this nigga just come in and out like a disappearing ass father, bro. Like, I mean, I did like how he just popped up at the ending to help Butcher, but like but it's just like he wasn't there for like the major fucking plots. Like, I get he just didn't want to like help kill his dad or whatever, but he knew how dangerous his own dad was.
Came this close to beating Butcher at Connect 4, killed Grace, and ends up essentially living on the run from his obsessive psychopath of a dad. In the season 5 finale, Ryan shows up at the White House to help Butcher and the boys defeat Homelander, but after the battle, his future is more uncertain than ever. Butcher offers to live with Ryan, but Ryan emphatically refuses.
I don't want a fresh start with you. I want this to be the end.
Ryan wants Homelander's death to be the end of his involvement with Soups altogether, and he goes off to presumably find a peaceful life of his own. But it's tragically hard to see that working out for him. Being raised as a Vought company secret, Ryan doesn't have very much real-world experience at all. He may not even have a birth certificate or social security number, and even though he doesn't have powers anymore, it's also hard to imagine that Vought will leave him alone. He knows company secrets, and even after Homelander's death, Ryan's full life story could seriously damage Vought's reputation. We don't know what happens to Ryan after he leaves the boys, but we can sadly assume that he has a long and difficult road ahead of him. Season 5 didn't spend much.
I thought it was pretty obvious he like went to live with MM, and you know, like I feel like that's poetic too, because like basically Soldier Boy ended up killing MM's parents and stuff, and he ends up taking care of the grandson of like his, you know, his killers, the people that killed his parents. I mean, that's kind of beautiful in itself, because it shows how much restraint bro has, and it shows how much of a better person and good person he is.
Time exploring United States politics, but the events of the plot throw the entire government into chaos. At the beginning of the season, Homelander is quietly pulling the government strings thanks to Vice President Ashley, and Homelander violently kills the president and takes even more direct control over the government.
The second coming. But in a way, really, I'm the first coming.
After Homelander's death, Ashley briefly remains president, very briefly.
That was former President Ashley Barrett, who, by an unprecedented unanimous vote in Congress, was impeached this afternoon.
By the end of the series, President Singer is back in office, but we don't know how he was brought back or what state the government is really in after Homelander's power grab. All the turmoil of the president's death, Homelander's brief tenure as President Guard, and Ashley's impeachment.
I feel like that was like never really kind of looked upon either. Like I feel like that whole thing to just like urge into how they saying like Homelander was delusional. I mean, it did sound delusional because he was just literally trying to play God. Yeah, I fucking hate that whole plot. I don't really like that plot, bro. It's not like really me being sensitive and trying to like see like the Christian thing in it or whatever. I'm not Christian. I'm not very, very religious. But it's just kind of weird they kind of took that role. I mean, I can see himself as trying to be like a higher entity or whatever, but like those were some crazy ass steals. But like just for them to wrap this up like that was just kind of weird.
Could provide fuel for an entire political thriller series. Obviously, The Boys doesn't have time to really explore how those events would play out in real life, but the show leaves us with some huge questions about how anything like a normal government could re-establish control over the country. The Boys Season 5 manages to give all of the main characters a somewhat satisfying conclusion. Frenchie and Butcher don't make it, but Hughie and Starlight get to live a life together, operating a small store and fighting crime. Mother's Milk goes back to his daughter and remarries his wife, while Kimiko heads to France where she can finally live on her own terms. All those endings are gratifying, but we still have some questions about them. Hughie and Starlight have taken a step back from the front lines, but they're still using their skills to fight the good fight. MM and Kimiko, on the other hand, seem to have entered retirement, and we have to ask, really? No one deserves a happy ending and peaceful life more than those two. But it's also incredibly hard to imagine them really putting their soup fighting days behind them for good. Will MM really be able to sit back and relax when he knows other evil soups could be out there? Similarly, Kimiko has talked about wanting to settle down and have a family. But will she be able to ignore the rest of the world when her powers could be saving other families? Realistically, they still have a lot to offer the world. One of the most...
I mean, I do agree. They have been through a fucking rough ass time. Like I mentioned earlier, bro's grandparents and parents was killed by Soldier Boy, and that was just like his whole plot of just like trying to take revenge and shit. He had a whole lot of shit stripped away from him. And then Kimiko was like literally just like found. And it really was kind of fucked up, like how her whole life was just like battling, people, and she was forced to kill people growing up in this little fucking type of tribe, or kidnapped by basically a gang. I think I forgot that whole plot, but in her story, but yeah, she grew up like pretty bad.
Surprising reveals in The Boys series finale is that Hughie and Annie are going to have a baby. At the end of the episode, we find out that Hughie opened his own audio-visual store, and he's running it with Annie. When Hughie gets to the store, we find out that Annie's pregnant.
And saltines.
Saltines, give me the saltines.
Apparently, Annie's pregnancy isn't slowing down her work as Starlight, though. She and Hughie are using the store's equipment to monitor emergency frequencies, and after hearing a call, Annie takes off to save the day as Starlight. Thanks to Ryan, we know that superpowers can be passed down genetically. There's enough wiggle room with the Compound V law that it's possible Hughie's daughter is a normal human, but more than likely, she'll end up with powers similar to Starlight's. Will Robin become part of a new generation of naturally born superheroes? The ending of The Boys leaves fans with those tantalizing questions to think about for some time to come.
Bro, like I said, I'm pretty happy on the way The Boys ended, bro. Because like, bro, like, like I said earlier, a lot of shows do not get this ending. A lot of shows do not even get to end, bro. So there's a lot of stuff that's flawed, and there's a lot of stuff that's, you know, needs to be explained a little bit, but those are like for like side characters and everything. But like, we can always question why they did stuff. We can always question why this was a thing. But at least they kind of really wrapped the story up pretty well, honestly. They wrapped Butcher's story up. They kind of wrapped Frenchie's character up pretty well. And then they kind of, you know, really wrapped MM's stories up. Kamiko's story up. It's just kind of like a pretty good ending. Hughie and Starlight got they really happy ending, and I'm still kind of weird he named his kid after his ex-girlfriend. But I mean, essentially his girlfriend was really important to him and was abruptly taken away from him, so can't really blame it on that. And I mean, Annie didn't really have a fucking problem with it, so yeah, I guess. But hey man, let me know what y'all guys think of this whole little Boys ending. I know there's gonna be like a whole different kind of take in the comments for everybody, but I love to see it. I love to see how other people feel about this, and I love to see, you know, what type of discussion y'all can have in the comments. But don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Go check out Looper's original video if you really want to go see the original video. And don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. We are on the road to 650. Catch you guys in the next video.
He was the best guy around.
What about the people he murdered?
What murder?